Hello everyone. In previous lecture we had completed chapter 3 and in today's class we are going to start chapter 4 and the name of this chapter is classification of soil. This is the total outline of this chapter. So first is purpose of soil classification. So let us discuss what is the main purpose of soil classification system or why it is necessary to classify the soil. So the purpose of soil classification is to arrange various types of soils into groups according to their engineering or agricultural properties and various other characteristics. Soil possessing similar characteristics can be placed in the same group. And basically from engineering point of view, the classification may be done with the objective of finding the suitability of the soil for construction of dams, highways or foundations, etc. So, for general engineering purposes, soil are classified as particle size distribution system, textural classification system, highway research board or HRB classification system, unified classification system or UCS, Indian standard classification system or ISCS. So these are the basically 5 types of soil classification system, but in your syllabus only the number 5 is given, Indian standard classification system, that is ISCS system. So in this chapter we are going to discuss only this ISCS system or all about the Indian standard classification system. So first is particle size distribution system. Again, in this system the soils are arranged based on according to the grain size such as gravel, sand, silt and clay. And in this classification system, soils are again classified into 4 types like United States Bureau system, International classification system, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that is MIT system, Indian standard classification system. So the total particle size distribution system again divided into 4 types. Again here Indian standard classification system is given. So this system or the particle size classification, we know that in this system the soils are arranged according to the different grain size. Like these examples, some examples are given here like gravel, sand, silt, clay, and basically these terms are used only as designation of particle sizes and do not signify the naturally occurring soil types. So which are mixtures of particles of different sizes and exhibit definite characteristics. It is preferable to use the word silt size and clay size in place of simply silt or clay in this, particularly in this system or in particle size classification system. So again these are of 4 types. So next we are going to discuss the Indian standard classification system or ISCS. In ISCS, the soils are classified into groups according to their size, and the groups are further divided into 3 types, such as very coarse soil, coarse soil, and the third one is the fine soil. So the Indian standard soil classification system first developed in 1959 was again it is revised in 1970, and this revised version is essentially based on USCS system with some modification that the fine grained soils have been subdivided into 3 groups. Again, the ISCS classifies the soils into these types: very coarse, coarse and fine. So, this is the figure, soil particle size. This is the fine grained soils, clay and silt. These are the examples. Then coarse grained soil, coarse sand, medium gravel, and this is the gravel. Which one is very coarse soil? In next slide again we will discuss briefly about the types of soil. So this is the total diagram which shows the Indian standard classification system, or based on this ISCS system we classified it. Like for example, this is the smaller one, clay first, then second is silt. So its range is given, the soil, the particle size whose size is less than 0.001 mm, this is known as clay, and the soil whose size is between 0.001 mm to 0.075 mm, this is known as silt, as shown here. Next is sand. Again the sand is divided into 3 types: fine, medium and coarse sand. So each having a size range. So the fine is 0.075 mm, this is the fine, it is between this to 0.425 mm. Again medium is between this 0.425 mm to 2 mm. Again coarse, this is the coarse, 2 mm. Again it is less than 4.75 mm. Next is gravel. Gravel is again divided into 2 types, fine and coarse. So fine is 4.75 mm, coarse between this 20 mm to 80 mm. Again cobble is 80 mm to 300 mm, and boulder is greater than 300 mm is known as boulder, which is very large soil. So this is a diagrammatic representation of the ISCS classification system. Again this also same. This also same. Here very coarse soils, boulder, cobble. Already we have discussed here that boulder is greater than 300 mm. Similarly it is shown here, greater than 300 mm size. It is round to angular in shape, bulky, hard rock particle, average diameter more than this is given 300 mm. Then next is cobble. Its range is 80 to 300 mm, this particle size. It also round to angular in shape, bulky, hard rock particle, and its average diameter is this much. It is given here, smaller than 300 mm or 30 cm, but retained on 80 mm shape. Then next is coarse soil. This is gravel. It's we can represent it in G, gravel. Again it is divided into coarse and fine. So gravel is also rounded to angular in shape, bulk, hard rock particles, passing 80 mm sieve but retained on 4.75 mm sieve. But the coarse soils, but coarse gravel are range of 20 to 80 mm, and fine are 4.75 to 20 mm. The next is sand, coarse soil. It is sand, and sand size, gravel is completed. Then next is sand size. We can represent it like S. So again it is divided, already we have discussed coarse, medium, fine. It also rounded to angular in say bulky, hard, rocky particles, passing 4.75 mm sieve, retained on 75 micron sieve. And the coarse particles or coarse sand are sizes from 2 to 4.75 mm. Medium range is 0.425 to 2 mm, and the fine size is 0.0752 to 0.425 mm. And the fine soils, the last is the fine soils, and divided into silt size. Silt size, we represent it like M, capital M. All the letters are in capital, like G, S, M, and the clay size is C. So, silt are the particles smaller than 75 micron sieve identified by behavior that it is slightly plastic or non-plastic regardless of moisture and exhibits little or no strength when air dried, and its range is basically 0.002 to 0.075 mm. And the clay size, this is notation is C, capital C, and the particle size smaller than 75 micron sieve identified by behavior, that is, it can be made to exhibit plastic properties within a certain range of moisture and exhibits considerable strength when air dried. So again its size less than 0.002 mm. So another, again we can also divide in fine soil like organic matter. We can also say that organic matter, organic matter in various sizes and stages of decomposition. So it is not necessary to represent here. So for this lecture this much. In next lecture again we will discuss more about this particle size distribution. So thank you.